Okay, so let's do this lead code problem called longest substring without repeating characters. So what they want us to return is, given an input string, we have to return the longest substring that doesn't contain any repeating characters. So in this way, in this example, right, we just by eyeballing the input string, we can say that the longest substring is of length 3, right? Because without the longest substring without the repeating character, right? So because if you take this substring ABC, right, this is the longest one which doesn't have any repeating character, right? And it could also be CAB from here, right? It could also be CAB. So you could have multiple substrings, but it doesn't matter whichever you return, because you just want to return the length of the longest one. So how we can do this is, let's create two pointers, right, called begin and end, right? And what we can do is, we start the beginning index, let's call it B, and end index, let's call it end, right? And we keep moving the end forwards, such that the window between beginning and end always contains the longest, always contains unique characters, non-repeating characters, right? So we start here, both at index 0, and then we move the end index 1 to the right, and check whether there's a repeating character or not. There's no repeating character, right? So for this, we also can create a map which contains character and the last position the character was seen at, right? So we move end index here, non-repeating, and we move one more time, non-repeating, right? And next time we move it, we see that A is already present in our map, right? So now what we can do is we check whether it's present between the current it's present in the current window or not, right? If it's present at an index that's outside of the current window, we don't care, right? Because because we are just returning the window of non-repeating characters, right? And if it's inside the current window, for example, this case, it would be inside the current window, right? Because beginning is at the 0th index and end is over here, right? So it's in the current window. So what we can do is, from the map, so what we can do is change the beginning now, so such that the new window doesn't contain repeating character, right? So we get the index where A was found from our map and increment it by 1, so B will be the new index, right? So this is how we find the sliding window. This is a sliding window problem. We find the sliding window containing non-repeating characters. Okay, let's start to implement this. First I'll change the string into an array so that it's easier to access the index. So let's say as equals to as dot split, right? This changes it into an array of the characters, right? And then we want a map where we store a character and the last index where it was seen. So let's say map equals to new map, right? And the beginning index would be 0, right? and then let's say the answer we return is called let's call it answer, right? ans, let's call it answer. To so this is the variable that would contain our answer, the longest non-repeating window length, right? So now what we can do is we can iterate through the array, right, and keep increasing the end pointer, right? End pointer will always go towards the right, and the beginning pointer may or may not move depending on whether there is a whether we have encountered a duplicate character, right? So for let's call it for let I equals to starting from 0, right? So I is the end pointer. Okay, let's call it end. For let end starts from 0 to end is less than the s dot length. We keep moving the end pointer, right? And yeah, what we do is if string end, if map contains the character pointed by the current end, right? If map dot has this character and map dot get this character, and this character is inside our current window, right, is greater than equal to begin, right? Then we have to change the begin so that the beginning of the window doesn't contain this doesn't contain this duplicate character, right? So begin would be map dot get as end plus 1. So this would be the new beginning character, right? And the length of this window would be let's call it current length, right? Would be begin minus, sorry, would be end minus begin plus 1. Right, so that would be the current length, and yeah, we change the maximum depending on we change our answer depending on the current length, right? So if current length is greater than the answer that we previously had, then we assign the answer as current length, right? Otherwise the answer would be the previous the maximum length that we had so far. And yeah, finally, like each time we process a character, we have to put it in a map, in our map, right? So we say map dot set this character and the index we encountered the character at, which is the last index we encountered the character at, right, which is I. So yep, we are setting the map. So yeah, just return the answer. Let's run it. Okay, runtime error. So what's the error? S has already been declared. Yeah, so let's call it S array instead of S. minus array. And let's run it again. Map.set, what's the problem here? I is not defined. Oh, so shouldn't be I, it's end, right? So it says wrong answer 2, but expected answer was 3. Okay, the problem with our solution was that while creating the array, I had created it this way, right? But you need to pass an empty string to create an array out of the given string.